first series that I consumed was The Three Investigators, which was a series, American series, a few dozen, maybe 100 at the outset, of books about three American teenagers who solve crimes. It was connected with Alfred Hitchcock originally, which was pretty cool even back in the 80s. Absolutely adored them. Absolutely adored them. I had got my agent because of the scripts, and I at the time though I was 100% screenplays, 100% movies. The idea of writing a book was kind of daunting. A screenplay is 100 pages long. You write down the middle of the page. It's a lot, and it's a lot more structured. You know what kind of thing happens at each stage, whereas I didn't know how to write a book. I still really don't. I don't think anyone does. But I got my agent because of the screenplays, and she was always on at me to try writing a book, try writing prose. And I would try, and I'd try and I'd get an idea and I'd start that, but then the idea would fade and my enthusiasm would flag and the idea would come to nothing. And it wasn't until Skullduggery Pleasant that it all changed, that it finally clicked in my head how to do this. Because of my background in screenplays and background in movies, I thought visually. Which explains why Skullduggery and Demon Road and practically everything I will ever write, it's going to be very visual. And there's a very kind of American aesthetic to that. It's kind of an Elmore Leonard approach where he doesn't really go into the thoughts of a character. He will let the reader know what they're thinking because of what they say and what they don't say and their actions. It won't be actually anything, there is no real introspection. Because everything is visual. For him, everything was visual, and for me, it's the same thing. It's all I rarely do I spend too much time within the character's head. Basically, the Demon Road series, the Demon Road trilogy, is a love letter to American horror. It's specifically American horror. It's Stephen King, it's Wes Craven, it's American movies, books, TV, and comics. The trilogy is just, they get in a car and they go from story to story. That's the essence of a road trip. And it just gave me the opportunity to have them arrive in the middle of horror stories that are happening all across America, whereas each one could be its own movie, each one could spawn its own sequels, but Amber and Milo arrive and they sort it out. Stephen King was obviously one of the big inspirations. I first read King when I was a kid. Back then we didn't have YA, we didn't really have books for teenagers. And we certainly did not have the breadth of books that are available for younger readers now. So I went from the Three Investigators and the Hardy Boys to Stephen King, and the most extreme of horror. So King has always been an inspiration, and just in the last maybe 7 years I've got back into rereading all of the books that I had read and just trying to catch up on everything else, and it's been a thrill. As far as influences on me and inspirations, and obviously Stephen King, but I would say for anyone writing in genre, in, specific genres, Stephen King would just be the natural fallback anyway. And then you've got the crime writers, Elmore Leonard, Joe Lansdale is just probably my favorite writer, and a man who's got an enviably broad career. He's written the Hap and Leonard books, which are wonderful crime novels, wonderful mysteries. And then he's got the horror, and then he's got the drive-in books, and he's got Bubba Hotep, and so it's horror, it's comedy, it's weirdness. Then he's got really weird books like Zeppelin's West, and then he's got westerns, and the man has the widest variety of genres, and he does it so well and so seamlessly. And if there was any career I could emulate, in terms of the freedom to do what you want and the freedom to tell whatever story in whatever genre that you want, that is his. That's my ultimate ambition. Whether I will ever get to write a western, or write pure crime, I don't know. I would love to, and I'm planning to, but it's finding the time.